All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 9 o'clock here. I call this Sawyer County Public Safety Committee meeting to order. Can we have roll call, Madam Clerk?
Ron Buckholz.
Present.
Mark Helwig. Jeff Haney. Marshall Savitsky is excused. John Sarowski.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, number 3, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, certification of compliance with the open meetings law.
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Okay, thank you. The meeting, number 5, the meeting agenda has been presented and set. Number 6, public comment. Public will be given an opportunity to address the committee. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments directed to the committee as a whole and not an individual. And the committee cannot respond to your comments during this time. And okay, we have one, Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Benjamin Kurtzwell, 16040W West Lane, Hayward, Wisconsin. I was here about 2 months ago, September 5th, I believe it was, and there was an animal control issue on the agenda. And after we had that conversation that day, and in the weeks following, I guess we all felt that the situation was resolved. However, in October, the violations started happening again. And I have been in contact with Chaz from Animal Control and Andy, the county administrator. We have a situation here now where it seems that we have repeat offenses. The county issued a citation for these initial offenses over the summer. Now this individual has pled not guilty and there's a court date, but no other citations are being issued for a repeat offense. That is what I'm kind of here to make you all aware of. I guess I liken it to if someone shoplifted from Walmart, allegedly, and was caught and pled not guilty, which is their right in this country, and has a court date, and then are caught allegedly shoplifting before that court date, I would think another citation would be issued. That is just the way that I believe most law enforcement works. I may be incorrect. So I guess after talking to Mr. Alvarado yesterday, I was told that it was going to be up to Chaz and Attorney Duffy to decide if a citation was going to be issued. I am very confused as to why Attorney Duffy would have any say in enforcement of any ordinances. And that's why I'm here today to ask. It seems that an ordinance or a citation was issued for the initial violations. It would seem only logical that a citation would be issued for any recidivism or repeat offenses. And that's where my confusion lies today. I would love this whole issue to be over. I'm sure a lot of people think this is very minor, and it is, and I hate to waste people's time on it, but let's get it done so we don't have, otherwise I'm going to keep coming back here until this is resolved. So just want to let you all know the current situation and asking again for animal control to continue to issue citations for repeat offenses like they did the first time. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
You have one hand up online.
Okay, go ahead.
Morning, everybody. Steve Beining, 8225 Blaisdell Lake Road, Loretto, Wisconsin, Town of Draper Supervisor. I'm here to speak today about the emergency communication system. So it was brought to the county's attention now almost 2 years ago, and we passed a resolution about 15 months ago, and we were told to be patient that this was going to be addressed in 2025. And I see it's on the agenda, so some folks are making progress. However, the full board earlier this month did not act on this item, and they're conflating 2 different items between Bug Tussle Wireless, which is point-to-point internet, and the 2 towers that are going to need to be sited by GenCom, which was shared with you, I believe, last January, that showed that there are significant areas in southern and eastern Sawyer County that do not have emergency communication currently. So I guess I'm just a little confused why the full board is not moving forward with the GenCom option when the options have been put forth to you now for, it appears, for months, and why the full board is conflating bug tussle and emergency communications. It appears the order of operations doesn't make sense to me. It's not fair to our law enforcement officers, our EMTs, and our firefighters. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else? Go ahead, Ms. Zilmer.
Good morning, Linda Zilmer, property owner in Edgewater. A couple of items to follow up with Mr. Beining's comments about emergency communications and whether they are with radio communications with law enforcement or folks calling from their cell phones. I believe that cell phones today have the ability to send an emergency call out even if there's not regular cell service, and possibly the sheriff's department could think of composing a press release to help inform people how to make an emergency call if they are in an area that does not have cell service. I also question one of the agenda items on raising ambulance rates and considering the mix of the type of patients that the county serves, whether this has a revenue impact or not. And again, this month, I do not see times for calls of service or the number of calls that are made in Sawyer County by outside agencies. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Anyone else? All right, number 7. Consider approval of the previous minutes.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Sorolski and a second by Mr. Haney to approve the previous minutes. No more questions. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries to approve. All right, number 8. Circuit Court. We don't have anybody here from the judges. All right, number 9, Clerk of Court's office report. Marge?
Just to let you know, we did have, it was scheduled for a 5-day civil trial. It was whittled down to 4 days. Went off pretty well. We had to use the boardroom for overflow jurors because there were so many summoned. We were concerned we'd go through quite a few. But that went well, worked well for us, Mike. But I would like to do a shout out to Mike and Alex from IT for coming in and helping us with all of the technology. With that trial, we had a lot of issues and they'd come in at the drop of a hat and help us out. And we want to acknowledge that and appreciate that. So, and then we have another 5-day coming up here the end of the month of November. So.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Marge? Thanks, Marge. Appreciate your report.
Thank you.
All right, number 10, Sheriff's Department report, patrol report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You can see from our patrol call volumes, they've decreased from last month to 679. The 3-month trend shows August at 921 and September at 778. There's a small decrease from where we were at last year, which was at 763 calls for service. For October of 24, deputies in this period have issued 53 traffic citations, 7 written warnings, and 9 non-traffic citation. And community maps have been 12 total crashes, 5 with personal injury, and 0 additional fatalities, bringing our totals to 275 crashes, 67 with personal injury, and 3 fatalities. Over the middle part of October, we hosted an 8-hour in-house training featuring updates of vehicle contact methods and low-light firearms training, much needed, and received very positive feedback from those that attended. The final 2 squads have arrived and been delivered to GenCom for upfitting, and we hope to have these on the road before the winter arrives. The 46th annual Stone Lake Cranberry Fest was October 5th and went off without a hitch, minimal issues. And we have begun planning for the 51st annual American Porcupiner, February 19th through the 23rd of 2025.
Okay, All right, thank you, Lieutenant. Have any questions for Lieutenant Rapinski? Okay, number B, jail report.
Good morning. I'll highlight a few things on the jail report there. At the day the report was printed, we had 50 inmates. And our year-to-date average is just under 60. And last year, October, we were just over 67. So our jail population continues to decline, fortunately. We have 14 on probation, just over 27 pre-sentence, and just over 8 that are sentenced, and 4 on electronic monitoring.
Okay. Any questions on the jail report? All right, thank you, Sheriff, for that report. All right, number C, Communication Center and Emergency Management Report.
Morning, thank you.
Morning.
Morning. The Communications Center has finally been assigned a project manager for EZNet project. We just had a meeting yesterday and the project will be moving forward. Will be potentially completed by June 1st of next year. We'll begin training another part-time hire beginning next week. And our dispatchers attended a missing and abducted children's training, so how to send out Amber Alerts, Silver Alerts, things like that, hosted by LCO and the National Criminal Justice Training Center. We do have one dispatcher who is going through field training officer training right now. And our calls for service are about the same, just a little bit over than they were last year this time.
Okay, are we up to date with everybody on dispatch and then deputies in the sheriff's department, or are we still short?
For dispatch, we have one opening right now that our part-time staff has been filling. We have a lot of several new part-time trained dispatchers
Okay,
that have been picking up that shift or that vacancy, but we do still have one opening for full-time.
okay. Sure.
We're full staff on the patrol side. We're down 1 in the court division,
Oh,
full-time. We do have a part-timer filling the void there.
oh, okay, good. All right. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? All right, number D, Communication Systems Specialist Report. Anybody on there?
I don't think we have anybody from Gen Com today
Okay.
to give a report. I'll just go to E, the public safety radio update. So I think the board knows the discussion that happened at last month's board meeting. It's I left it on for the agenda just to give any updates. So the UW Extension Economic Development Committee will be taking up some of that discussion, but in the meantime, we're still working on the tower locations and going through the options and trying to get any of those details that we can in place. Like there's communication going on with WOJB. We've got all the, have given them all of the equipment we'd like to potentially put on their tower in the heights, and we're, they're going to come back to us with, I think, what it would take from a lease standpoint to be able to do that. Wiscom has some interest, or we're approaching Wiscom to see if they'd have any interest in a joint tower or whatever they'll be needing on the east side of the county in the Loretta area. And then also the XL Tower in the town of Meteor. Just still working on those locations, that if we go with those options, we have hopefully have something a little bit closer to concrete lease proposals that we could take a look at that time. So the work hasn't stopped. It's not moving real quick, but we're still trying to do that.
I guess one of my questions on this is, I wasn't at this last board meeting and I kind of watched some of it and I wasn't real happy with the way it went, but I just think it's getting passed around way too much. And I guess I don't understand what economic development's going to do with it. Other than, That's just my opinion. It's just getting drug out way too far, especially when this committee approved GenCom, then it went to the county board and they didn't want to touch it no more. So anyway, I just hope we can get this worked out. We got to get something going for these people. But like I say, I don't know where this is gonna go with economic development. I just couldn't believe it went there, but that's where they sent it, so.
I didn't know it was going, I thought it was going to admin or finance, not economic development. Yeah, I don't understand that either. But as far as it not going anywhere, not even any big decision made, I think, Andy, it's still going, everything's going forward.
Yeah,
We're
it
still
is.
working it. We're still just making sure that we're gonna do the right thing as far as whether it's Bug Tussle or GenCom. But like I say, things are still moving. No matter which way we go at this time, it's still moving. Just haven't made that stamp yet. So, but why is it going to economic development?
I think at the board meeting I suggested, because they had talked about sending it back here. And I guess my comment was this committee's been pretty clear on their
Where, yeah. And I agree
priorities,
with
what
that
they want
part.
to do.
Yes.
And the comments of the board were in the area, I think, of cell service and some broadband. So that's more on economic development, potentially. I mean, and then I think going ahead, it could be a joint, like we had been talking about, the Bug Tussle option was the potential for improved cell service and broadband that would give us the tower locations for the public safety network. It could come back to that, or could be two entirely separate initiatives that the county has, working with somebody that would help improve cell service and potentially internet service. And then we still just do the GenCom separate. I don't have any information or options on other things we can do for enhancing cell service. And I think the part where it ties together, as has been pointed out, is that yes, our law enforcement and all of our EMS needs good radio communications. We also rely on cell service in our squads for connecting as well. So we do have some needs there as well.
Well, I understand the cell service part of it, but broadband, Sawyer County give a lot of the ARPA money to all these phone companies to do the broadband, and that's being worked on. So I don't see where that's a problem. The cell service, yes, but broadband, no. I mean, everybody's going to end up with it. It's just a matter of time.
Well, are those areas that we did with all that? Everybody, it's not all being covered with all that stuff, right?
Right.
I mean, there's still a lot of open areas, and that's what we would cover with Bug Tussle, excuse me. So, but at the same time, I think one of the things I mentioned was getting our communication up and running, and then maybe, working on that 2026.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Any other questions? Strolsky? None? Okay. All right. My agenda is different than what I got on my iPad here, so I'm gonna go by the paper one. The next one, number F, is code enforcement. Here, it's not E. So, Chaz?
Thank you. So our Sawyer County dog license season for 2024 is coming to an end. No more online dog license sales will be as of tomorrow, November 1st, and then 2025 season starts December 1st. So we'll be making posts and stuff about that. So with it being so close to the end of the 2024 season, our revenue has obviously been pretty low. We've only had 4 dogs that have entered the pound, and they've all been reclaimed by their owners probably within a half hour. So they've all been going home pretty quickly. In regards to the dog pound itself, we are all done painting. We're just waiting to do floors, and then that's going to be all done. And then the most calls I've been getting this month has, of course, been animals at large. Really slow start to the month, but the end of the month has been quite busy, so.
All right. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Chaz? No. All right. Thank you for all you do, Chaz. Appreciate it. All right. Number G, Cooperative Tribal Law Enforcement Grant Resolution and Agreement.
So for the last few years, well, I think going back and beyond that, the county and LCO have had some cooperative efforts to obtain the tribal law enforcement grant from the state. The last few years, though, we have essentially passed the resolution supporting the application, and LCO has made the application and received the funds directly from the state. But because it's a cooperative grant, we're required to essentially sign off on it and pass the authorizing resolution. So what you have is same resolution as last year. LCO is applying for the funding, and the state tells you this is like they allocate so much to each of the eligible applicants. So they're applying for what's available, and again, it's for their animal control program out on the reservation.
I make a motion to approve the 2025 Cooperative Law Enforcement Agreement with LCO.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Helwig and a second by Mr. Haney to approve the Cooperative Tribal Law Enforcement Grant Resolution and Agreement. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries to approve. All right. Number 11, Child Support Department report. No one here. She did give us a
Yeah,
report.
and she was gonna try to join
Oh, okay,
virtually, but I don't see her on there.
okay. But she did give us a report, so did everybody had a chance to look at that? Any questions with it? All right. Number 12, Emergency Services, Ambulance Medical Examiner Update and Billing Report. Mr. Fremmel on there? Okay. Is there a reason why he's not, Andy, do you know?
No,
Okay,
I do not know.
all right. All right, any questions on his report? Okay,
Yeah, it's potential is he's out on a call. I guess
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up
he's
that
usually on.
we continue to struggle. We are short 5 paramedics right now. I had mentioned we have 4 of our current EMT staff in paramedic school. They are to be done the end of the year and should be licensed paramedics, assuming they pass their licensing after the first of the year, which we'll be able to plug them in, and then we'll be filling EMT spots. But because we're short paramedics, Mr. Fremmel is still picking up shifts and
Picking up shifts.
going out on calls. So it is a bit of a struggle, and that's impacted some of those other discussions we've had with, addressing the town of Round Lake request, is just trying to get through this staffing struggle. And I would say we're having, the problem is growing because all the ambulance services that employ paramedics in this region are getting more competitive with wages and trying to attract those paramedics in, and that's something we're contending with as well.
Do they have some of these nurses picking up some of the slack too?
We do, yeah, we do have some nurses. We have a special rate for transfers for nurses to be incentivized to take those. So we've extended that. Still not getting any more though. I think we've kind of got a core group or a handful of nurses that can take shifts or take transfers. We're just not attracting anybody new in right now.
Do we have anybody that on call, EMTs or anything like that anymore, or we don't have that?
Not as many as we used to, and that's one of the reasons that was the trend. That's the trend everywhere, is that it's hard to sustain people being on call if that's not, those who are able to take on call are just becoming full-time EMTs and paramedics, and that's most services are going to full-time staff because call-ins and, what you'd consider a volunteer that gets paid to answer the call just are there's
So-
less and less of those.
Those on-call ones though, do they get paid the same as regular?
They're like for bucking over for being on.
Do they
Um,
get any
there's-
extra or?
There's an on-call rate if they're available,
Okay.
but trying to think, they get paid, once they come in, they get an hourly rate.
Okay.
So we still do have though, like if there's transfers available, we have a protocol where, you know, if we don't have anybody available, like we don't have enough, we want to make sure we keep a couple rigs in the county.
Yes.
So if we can't do a transfer with one of the existing rigs, there's a message that goes out to all of the staff, seeing if anybody is available to take it. Same thing if we have a call that leaves, like we have a 911 call and they have to transport the person out of county. We try to backfill with other staff and call people in for that as well. But yeah, we just don't have like our Round Lake and Stone Lake stations. Those are, the ambulance, in 2017, the county paid for a consultant to come in and give you a plan on how to operate your full-time ambulance. And that's how you ended up with a full-time station here and then the one in Ojibwa. And the recommendation there was to continue with Round Lake and Stone Lake as volunteer sites or on call. And we just don't have, people have to say we're available to take call and then they're on call. We just don't have enough staff generally in those areas to keep those rigs up and running.
We haven't heard nothing about that for a while, so I was just wondering. Mr. Soroski, go ahead.
It's just something that caught my eye here in the report. Andy maybe can enlighten us. Write-offs for the ambulance is really down low for September 2024. Is that a trend? Are we able to collect money that is due better, or is it just a dip here? If you would know, I don't know.
The only thing I would say, I can't say speak for September for sure, but I would say it's inconsistent. Like,
Okay.
they just don't write them off every month. It's like they get so far out and they've gone through the collection process and then they'll decide that so much of them are uncollectible. So it doesn't like consistent like September, October. You might see a big write-off in November.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Hillick.
So if we were to get some people that were to volunteer in the area, like Stone Lake again, would an ambulance go back in that area? You think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I don't know where we're at. We're working with moving the ambulance to Exland because there are more EMTs in that area. But yeah, and that's something Mr. Fremmel's talked about is getting back out and talking to those areas about having an EMR class or EMT class. EMRs wouldn't staff the ambulance, but they'd be able to respond to the scene before an ambulance got there. So we need more of those, but yes, we're always trying to get people to go into the EMT program. That way they're available to be called in for service.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions? All right, thanks, Andy.
Yep.
So we're done with emergency. Oh, just number C. Ambulance service charge resolution. I don't
So
have that on my iPad. Oh, it was? Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, let's see.
So as a part of, I'm just going to see if I can. So as a part of budget process, we encourage all the departments to review their fees to see if there are any adjustments. Last month, we brought up the ME rates because they had not been updated in, I think, almost 8 years. Similarly, when we looked at the ambulance, they have not been updated in about the same time frame. So, Lynn, could you? Ambulance rates?
Yeah, adjusting ambulance service charge.
There. And then can you, and let me enter.
Seems like a pretty big jump.
It is.
$400 jump, the basic, I mean. Was it 8 years?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, last time I could find was 2016.
8 years ago.
Yep. And, let me just share my screen here.
I don't know, it might be due, but that just seems like a hell of a big jump. I know it was 8 years, but
So what we started with was talking to the billing company, and they were able to pull out comparable billing rates from other services in Wisconsin. And come on. They provided us with what I'm putting up on the screen here. So that's probably the primary basis for where we came up with the proposed rates. There they can see, they break them down by the advanced, or the ALS, which is advanced life support, basic life support, or in the A2 rate. There's more rates in here than what we use. So we focused on just the ones that we have, which is the specialized transport. Basic life support, advanced life support 1, 2, on-scene care. That's if there's no transport, we still provide. People sometimes refuse transport, but they do get any care on scene, we do send them a bill. And then event coverage and mileage. So like our mileage rate was pretty comparable to other services. So we left that one alone, but we did incorporate, we did not go, I mean, they provided us averages. We, I think, stayed below all the averages from the other services. The other thing that we did also get is we've had some communication with Waushara County, who is another county-wide service. They had done a rate survey in their area and saw what their where they were and what they're proposing to raise their rates to is another comparable. So
Go to us to handle an election emergency.
okay.
yeah, it looks like you're pretty, the basic and all that, the $25,
Hey,
$50,
Lance.
that's not bad, but to me I know that it's like, well, oh geez, since we haven't done anything in 8 years, let's just, do this, and that just seems like a pretty big jump at one time. Some thoughts.
I think we'll end up with more in collections now than we
Exactly.
did before, yeah.
and to be fair to for a fair number of the payers that we have, the rate adjustment's not going to have a big impact because like we get a lot of Medicare, Medicaid. What the rate is kind of, they pay up to this amount and that's it. And then even if our rate goes up, their rate that they're going to pay us isn't going to go up.
So is it like a moot point or what?
Well, this impacts more private pay and insurance payments. So this is,
Private pay. So the people that don't have insurance?
right.
So someone that had just needed basic life support transport, they currently pay $1,000. And all of a sudden now they're gonna have to pay $1,400.
I don't know, that seems like a lot to me too, but I can understand we haven't raised them in a while, but do we need to go that high?
No, we don't have to.
Like, that's my issue, just like, oh geez, we didn't do it for 8 years, let's just,
No, like you could, I
make
mean,
up for it.
time frame as well. I mean, that's not something we need to move ahead this month. But if you want me to come back with smaller increases and you probably just need to make a commitment to review these on a more annual basis and
Agreed.
move things up. That's.
I would like to postpone it and see if we can come back with a smaller amount, just for the fact I know there's a lot of people, and we need our ambulance services, and I know they need revenue to operate other than what we give them, but I just think that's kind of high. And I would like to look at it a little lower rate. If you and Mr. Brummel could work on that.
Sure.
So, we could just postpone this until the, November meeting?
October, or excuse me,
October.
December.
December, yeah,
December.
we are.
This
November,
is
so-
the November meeting.
Yeah, this is
December.
December. You guys okay with that?
Yes.
Do we need a motion on anything on that? or-
No,
All right. So Lynn had to go, so I don't know who's doing all the documentation over there now, but
you just keep on, I'll keep a note here and keep on going.
On next.
you get to put that on next month's agenda,
Yep.
so, okay. All right, number 13, criminal justice, coordinating console update.
I don't have an update, just that we
Okay.
approved the CJCC MOU. TAD grant application was due back in October. That's been taken care of. And otherwise, everything
Okay,
moving along. The CJCC has probably spent less time talking about the TAD grant and diversion deflection and recovery court the last couple of months, and has been talking more about, now that those things are, I think, operating as they're supposed to be, on the juvenile issues, they're increasing juvenile justice issues and truancy
okay,
as a potential root cause of that needs more attention.
all right. Any questions for Andy on that? All right, number 14, board appointed committee updates. Anybody have anything?
No, that since we're the first one of the month.
Yeah, okay, and number 15, future agenda items, we want to make sure we get that ambulance on there. And then will the radio communication will come back on there, okay? So, all right, number 16, correspondence reports from conference and meetings. Okay, number 17, I want to thank everybody, and we are adjourned. Thank you.